Hey guys, Michael from Copper vs Glass, and in today's video we are looking at the SC01. This is a wireless receiver to basically allow for any source, whether it's your phone, laptop, really anything, to be wirelessly mirrored to a display. So, let's take a look. So first up, the SC01 comes with a USB-C to USB-A cable to actually power the device. A slightly too small HDMI cable, then you have the adapter. It's a very simple unit overall. You have HDMI and USB-C connectors on the back, there are vents all around to help with the thermals, and a light up button on top to help with the aspect ratio switching and to show that there's power to it. And that's kind of it. The SC01 is also super light at only 50 grams. Now it states on the website it is super low latency, which of course we are going to test. It supports 2.4 and 5 GHz speeds, which is nice to see, 4K at 60 Hz with the included HDMI 2.0 cable, and of course it is going to be multi-platform. Now for the setup of this super tiny device, it says it only takes 3 steps and 3 minutes.
That's what she said!
So, let's see. Now the setup itself is all done through the SC01 and a web browser. There's no sort of external application or any app at all that you need to download, because again all it's going to be doing is mirroring your device, and the setup process is done through a browser. And then once the SC01 is plugged in, you need to head over to your network settings on your chosen device. For me it's my MacBook Pro, and then you'll see an option pop up here for the Pro Screencast, and that is the SC01. Now it's not prompting me to enter my password because I have actually set it up previously on another display, so then what you want to do is head over to your browser of choice. So again, for me it's going to be Chrome, and then all you need to do is enter the IP address that shows on the screen that you've got the SC01 plugged into, and that will then take you to the configuration or the settings side of things. And then all you need to do is find your network, which is your standard home Wi-Fi network, select it, enter the password, and then once that's entered, it's all going to connect, and then all you need to do is then reconnect back to your home network, and you're pretty much set and ready to go. And that's pretty much it for the setup. So what can you actually mirror? Well, before we get on to that, what does it actually support? So it can basically do all of the main operating systems. So for example, Windows, Mac OS, Android, iOS, you've pretty much got everything covered that you need. Now today, I'm going to be testing it with my MacBook. I'm going to be using it on Chrome for the Chrome tab extension. I'm then going to be mirroring my Galaxy S22 Plus, and then also using it more of a Chromecast to see exactly how that process works as well. Okay, so I've got everything all set up here with my MacBook Pro, and the SC01 is installed. There is a QR code on screen that you can scan to watch the videos that are showing on screen as well. So I'm just going to head over to YouTube, go to the channel, and then in the top right hand corner you've got the settings option, cast. Once you click that, everything should then pop up. There we go. Click on the option there for the SC01, and it should then automatically appear on the screen. So there we go, nice and simple, super easy to use. Now to check out some of the latency. So it's mirroring the bottom onto the top. So if I start to scroll up and down on my laptop here, for example, you should be able to see a slight difference. I mean, it is very minimal. It is pretty low latency. I wouldn't say it's ultra low latency like they claim on their website, but in general, it still does a pretty good job overall. So now again, if we go ahead and just play a video quick, you should be able to see if there's any differences between the two here. If you kind of look in between the two different screens, you should be able to see a very slight difference between the two when it changes scene, for example. But again, in general, the latency is pretty good overall. Now, if this was on a TV and you wanted to basically mirror something to the TV and not worry about the laptop whatsoever, obviously you can reduce down the brightness of the laptop. You can't do anything in terms of obviously closing it or anything like that, because again, that will just completely shut off the video altogether. But again, just in general, I think it actually works pretty well. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to head over to another website with a ton of text-based and picture-based stuff on there, like The Verge, for example. Again, I'm just going to scroll around to see exactly how that latency is going to look as well. I do like that it doesn't have the address bar, which is kind of nice, but again, you can see there is a little bit of slowdown and maybe a little bit of stutter on the actual top display that is attached to the SC01 compared to what is on the actual MacBook itself. So it's not necessarily directly one-to-one. So again, for me, if you were doing something like a presentation in a business scenario, for example, that really wouldn't make too much difference overall. But again, the mirroring aspect, while being good, isn't exactly one-to-one. Now, the streaming side of things also doesn't work with certain websites or apps that have HDCP video copyright protection. So for example, something here like Netflix, it closes off the mirroring altogether and then it only plays here on the bottom screen, which again is definitely something to keep in mind. This isn't an issue that you find with something like a Chromecast, for example. However, for some reason, the mirroring options and even the Chromecast settings, or even the sort of cast settings that are built in, don't actually work. Something like Disney Plus, however, once you go into it, and then again you go up to the right hand side, click on the cast option, and then select the SCO1, it puts over the interface. However, as soon as you actually go to play anything or try and watch anything, let's have a look to see what we've got here. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, super good, super underrated show. Again, if I go ahead and try and play one of these episodes, it looks like it's loading, but then again it doesn't, and again the top screen blanks out completely, goes back to the main menu, and it only plays here on the bottom screen. So that is definitely something to keep in mind depending on the kind of things that you do watch in general as well. So let's have a quick look at how it's going to fare with another way of mirroring. Now for this one, I've actually rotated my display, and if you press the button on the top here, it's going to rotate everything. So if you want to use it in vertical mode, you've got the option to do so, like here with the S22 Plus. So for this one, all I'm going to do is go into my phone, go into the quick settings, and then I've got the smart view option. This may appear different depending on the device you're using. Sometimes it just says mirror, sometimes there's just a Chromecast button. Again here it says Pro Screencast. Click on start now, and we're pretty much all set and ready to go with this one here. Now the great thing about doing this on a Samsung device, for example, is you do actually get a little menu that pops up when you are in the mirroring options. Now you've got Appcast, pausing it, all of this different information. However, if you do head into the settings side of things, once you click on the little cog in the top right hand corner, you can then change the phone aspect ratio. So for this one, if you do full screen on connected devices, what it's going to do is actually change the aspect ratio of your display to, as you can see, fit this display perfectly. And then it's basically like using a 27-inch Galaxy S22 Plus. Heading into Instagram here, clicking on one of my photos, everything works exactly as you would expect it to. If you're going to be sort of pinching and zooming on your device, that is going to come across on the display. So again, you can imagine if this was maybe a 40 or 50-inch TV turned on its side, how good that experience would be for certain things, especially business presentations, or if you do want to get any sort of messages across maybe in the foyer of your office, for example. Now heading into YouTube, again, all it's going to be doing is mirroring one-to-one. So even if I go ahead and try and play a video, for example, so if I just scroll down here to, well, let's just do the S22 Plus review, then all it's going to do is mirror the display exactly. Now, it would have been nice if it noticed you were doing a video for it to kind of switch over to the Chromecast type interface, which we will go on to, but unfortunately in this instance it doesn't. But again, it works perfectly fine. Now for me, it would have been nicer if when you're watching a video, for example, if you go into the full screen mode, all it's actually going to do is blow up the image but keep the same aspect ratio. So as you can see here, it's just going to zoom in on my face and on a specific part of the video. It would have been maybe a little bit nicer for it to have full screen where it's in the middle of the display, and then yes, you would have a pretty chunky black bar on the top and also on the bottom, but that would have been a slightly better experience overall as opposed to just blowing up the middle of the frame that you're watching. However, if you are a fan of something like TikTok or even YouTube Shorts, I've done a short on my channel here. This one fits and works extremely well. It fills the frame, it's vertical, it looks great. So if you are into watching a ton of vertical video, like I say, whether that's YouTube Shorts or Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be, then again, this may be a very viable option. Now, the rest of the device itself, again, just works exactly as you would expect it to. So if I go into the camera options here, you can see here it's mirrored the mirror, which is mirroring the mirror, but as you can see, you kind of have a little bit of an idea of exactly what that's going to look like. And again, this has changed all of the aspect ratio on my device as well, so you're not going to have any sort of strange or kind of disproportionate aspect ratios just in general. And as you can see here, looking around the room where I'm filming, I've got some softbox lights here, my camera just here in the background, and again, it is one-to-one, and the latency or the lag side of things, again, is pretty good overall. It can also make a really nice jukebox, for example, if you have a load of people around, and again, you kind of have it as maybe like a staple piece in the background, playing all of the artwork, and you've got everything all in one place. I think it looks pretty cool overall. And then we have the casting option. So I've got a screen recording of my Galaxy S22 here on the right hand side, and then obviously the screen with the SCO1 on the left here. So if I go into YouTube, for example, pick on a video, and again, wait for these ads to play. Again, guys, if any ads play on my videos, please just let them play out. It's only going to be about sort of 10-15 seconds. So again, once you're then in a video, you've then got the cast button here in the top right hand side, Procast screen or the SCO1 is showing in the middle here, and then you can click on it to connect. Now, this is actually the part of the SCO1 that I was massively let down and massively disappointed by. As you can see, I am going to play this first one in real time. It just takes a very long time for the video to come from your device onto the actual SCO1 in terms of the mirroring side of things. Now, as you can also see, it does have its own sort of little interface here on the left. It's not what you would find on a normal Chromecast. It doesn't look very Google-esque at all. And again, starts the video from the start, whereas on my phone it was about halfway through. And then what it's going to do is skip jump and kind of glitch around a little bit and then eventually catch up and then play as it would do on my actual device. So just in general, the time it takes is a little bit longer than I really wanted overall. And again, the time that you have to wait is not great. Even if I skip through the video, as you can see here, it kind of hicks up and takes a while, it buffers again, and it's not a very seamless experience overall, which is a massive disappointment. However, does it look good? Well, actually, yeah, it looks really good. The 4K 60Hz that they've mentioned in all the material that's on their website is pretty true to life in my opinion. Looking at this video, okay, maybe it's not necessarily as clear as it would be natively, but it still looks pretty good in regards to that 4K 60, and yeah, I think it looks pretty nice overall. Yes, there is a ton of lag, and yes, it definitely hiccups every now and then, so it's not the best experience overall in terms of casting things, but it still kind of works at the end of the day. And the slightly strange and not great colours on the display here was just based on the camera angle that I had my display at. So guys, overall, I think this tiny little SC01 is actually a great device if you set your expectations. Now, as always, I have to do a very quick comparison to the Chromecast from Google. Now, the SC01 comes in at $69.99, and a standard Chromecast, you're looking around $29 or around $49 for the Chromecast with Google TV. And I do think that for most people, the Chromecast is definitely going to be the better option. It's just a bit more slick, and the interface itself, although there really isn't one, that's kind of the joy of using a Chromecast. Now, I have my Chromecast set up pretty much every video in the background, just cycling through some wallpapers. So again, you've got multiple options in regards to how you want to use it. If you did also want to display the weather on there, you've got the option to do so as well, or family photos, that's really nice too. And just in general, pretty much any Android application that you can think of, you can go straight in, you can either mirror your device or there's a specific Chromecast option. Now, where the Chromecast falls down slightly is if you're using anything outside of that sort of Android or Cast ecosystem. So for me, I can't wirelessly display my MacBook screen onto my TV using the Chromecast. That is going to be a HDMI cable or a specific streaming box like the SC01. But I think for me, the SC01 really shines when it comes to the business side of things. So if you're going to be using it for any sort of presentation side of things in Google, for example, in Chrome, you've got Google Sheets, Google Docs. That would be a really nice experience to be able to wirelessly put anything from your screen onto another screen using the SC01. And I think in general, if multiple people want to use it, jump onto a project, for example, I think that's a really good use case. Also, the fact that you can switch it from vertical to horizontal is also really good if you want to have maybe some business information on a display in a foyer and you want to have it as a more sort of vertical setup to get a lot more info on there. Then again, this is going to be a great easy option and really not too expensive compared to maybe some other business options out there. And that's going to do it, guys, on this video on the SC01. Now, of course, it is going to be linked in that description down below. And if you guys have any other options or any other solutions for mirroring your device, let me know in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And for more great content moving forward, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And also, when you're subscribed, turn on all notifications so you're notified anytime I post a video here on the channel. I'm Michael from Copper vs Glass. Thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.